It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 171. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, March 15th, 2026. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world, wherever and whenever you're listening to this. Thank you for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly, places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch replays of games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. In today's show, we'll have three sections as always. The first section, I'll talk about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is not mid in quality, it's the middle of the show. That's where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section is a break from all the video game talk, the miscellaneous talk section. I like to get into what's going on with my favorite teams in the worldwide world of sports, and that would be the case today. And recording later on a Sunday because none of my teams are playing today, so I have a little more freedom on my schedule today. I'm over here freewheeling, so this is a afternoon Dep Lewis Show episode. So welcome to the show. So let's get into some video game talking. So what have I been playing since I've talked to you last week? And if you've been listening any of the last couple of weeks, this is going to be a very familiar update. I've been playing the same kind of games. And the first one I've been playing is Animal Crossing New Horizons. And I think I have embarked on a new horizon on this game. I think I'm slowing down on it a little bit. This is my second playthrough of the game. I think I'm maybe 35 or 40 hours into this new version, or my second file. I still only have a 3-star island, but I've been making a little bit of money in the stock market game, which is nice. I was able to get my best return last week. I got, I think, 190 per bell. So I think I sold, maybe bought some for like 100 bells a piece, and then I was able to sell for like 190. So I think I was able to invest 250,000 bells today in the stock market. So very, very nice. I took, a couple days off. So I think I'm getting in a little bit of a lull with this game of not sure what I want to do next. My main goal is to make some money. I've been doing that. And even with this week, maybe I will take a break from the stock market next week and just see how I kind of feel about this. But there's still plenty more for me to do, but maybe I will just end up doing it later. I don't know. I've been a little bit tempted by Pokemon Pokopia, which is another kind of life sim game, but this one's involving Pokemon. Seems very, very good, and a lot of people are playing that. And maybe that's a little bit of a reason for me slowing down on this one, but it also could be, I've already played this game before, and it does take a lot of time to do things and change your island around, and maybe I will just end up doing so over time. That's kind of what I'm thinking right now. So I didn't go to a KK Slider concert last week. Felt disappointed about that, but I did get back in the stock market this morning, and probably will slow down a little bit on Animal Crossing New Horizons, but you never know. We will see. I've still been having a whole lot of fun with this, and I've been going pretty hard on it for the start of the year. Excuse me. What else do I want to say about Animal Crossing New Horizons? I still haven't really tried too much of the new content, so that's something I could end up doing, but this game will be around forever, so maybe I guess I'm thinking I'm not going to rush it, but that is my Animal Crossing New Horizons update for this week. And the other game that I've been playing that's been taking most of my attention has been Pokemon LeafGreen. So this is the version that released on the Switch and Switch 2 that you can buy digitally, and it's been very fun to play this. I don't think I ever did play this back in the day, so I've been having fun with this. I played the original Pokemon games, Red and Blue, and some Yellow, but I don't think I ever was playing on the Game Boy Advance. So I've been playing more of this. I still have taken down the first 2 gym leaders. So there are 8 gym leaders and 4 elite trainers at the end that I need to complete. But I've been working on getting like a strong team of Pokemon out here, so I don't get shown up in these Pokemon streets. I've been doing some leveling outside of Vermilion City. I've been going on and off the SS Anne, trying to make some progress there. I ended up going on the SS Anne and realizing there are some pretty strong enemies there, and that I needed more than one strong Pokemon. So my Venusaur is the star of the show. Venusaur is over level 30 at this point, maybe like I'm pretty sure over 30, but definitely, or I want to say 34, but I could be wrong about that. And then Nidorino, I traded my Nidoran for a Nidorino, and that one leveled up, or a Nidoran leveled up to a Nidorino, and it's the one I traded somebody for. So this one's nicknamed Mr. Nido, and he is up to level 30 now, so that's pretty nice. I don't know when he will evolve to Nidoking, but that'll be pretty exciting, and I think that's a pretty cool secondary Pokemon right now. And then my third Pokemon in terms of strength is Pikachu. This is the most recent one that I've been leveling up. The Pikachu is around level 20 right now. Excuse me. So he's tailing a little bit behind, but at least I have a few different types in there, and I have a couple Pokemon. I've still mainly been using Venusaur when I go into battles, but at least I have a couple other Pokemon that can handle some business if things go awry. And they do go awry from time to time. Like you can get it put to sleep, or you can meet a opposite type, and I don't want that to happen. So I did a pretty good job of leveling this week. I was doing a lot of leveling, and then yesterday when I was playing, I was making some more progress on SS Anne. I think SS Anne is a ship, if you didn't know by the name. And I think at the end of this, at the end of the ship, defeating all the trainers or whatever, I believe I get the move Cut that I can assign to one of my Pokemon, and this will help me proceed further into the world. I think there's a couple different places I can go to right now, but I think I need to get the move Cut here in Vermilion City to be able to tackle the gym. So I think that's probably what I will end up doing first. So I've been having a whole lot of fun with this game. I feel like I have a pretty good team building up. There's a whole bunch of other Pokemon that I would like to have in my squad, so that's a pretty exciting thing. But I need to be able to get around the world and not be getting my what handed to me. So I feel like Venusaur, Nidorino, and Pikachu really have my back so far in Pokemon Leaf Green. And what else do I want to say about that game? I just think it's been a great game to play, with your full attention or without your full attention. So if you're listening to a podcast, or I've been watching some of the World Baseball Classic that's going on, or just watching YouTube, I think it's a really good game for that. It's a nice game to play in handheld for sure. And, go Pokemon Leaf Green. What a great addition to the Nintendo Switch eShop, or Nintendo Switch Online. Or I guess you want to call it the eShop instead of Nintendo Switch Online, because you don't want to get murky with their services there. But those have been the two main games I've been playing this week: Animal Crossing New Horizons and Pokemon Leaf Green. This is the year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. I've been focusing on new releases this year, so not really trying to make lists of older games to complete or go back in the beginning of a franchise of a new game's coming out. So looking towards the horizon, and the first horizon I'm looking towards for this year is Forza Horizon 6. That's going to release on May 19th for Xbox, and I guess just Xbox, and then it's coming to PlayStation 5 at a later date, but supposedly by the end of 2026. That's what I'm looking very forward to, and having to wait for the PlayStation 5 version. Mina the Hollower on my front log. That one's coming out in spring 2026. I feel like that one is coming sooner than later. That's just kind of a little intuition guess. Marvel Token Fighting Souls is releasing August 6th. That looks very, very cool. Potential fighting game for me to get into, which happens once every blue moon. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2, August 27th. You'll be able to play Metal Gear Solid 3 on modern platforms. That's pretty exciting. You'll be able to play it on Switch, which is exciting too. And then Marvel's Wolverine from Insomniac on September 15th. So, what a wonderful year. And even Grand Theft Auto is going to be, I need to add that to my list here for the front log, because that one does, I believe that has a date. I don't think it's just a fourth quarter date. So I need to make a note to add that to my front log for this year as well. But Forza Horizon 6, definitely my most anticipated, followed by Marvel's Wolverine, and then maybe we'll get to the GTA talk in there for level of excitement for me. So year of the front log on the Dep Lewis Show. Just want to keep you aware of what's on that, and any updates with the theme of the year. So that is everything going on in this first section I want to clue you into going on with me. I'll probably be playing some of these games in the upcoming week. We might end up seeing Animal Crossing New Horizons drop out sooner than later. I don't know if I'm going to try to go the Pokopia route, but I might try to insert another game that's taken up some time besides just playing Pokemon Leaf Green, which I've been doing a lot of. So I think that's the one that we can guarantee you'll be hearing about for a couple more weeks on the show at least, and maybe a little bit less of Animal Crossing New Horizons updates. But I love that game. It's definitely still going up the rankings for my favorite game of all time. And shout out to Isabel and Tom Nook and Timmy and Tommy and everybody else out there on Showville Island. All right, so that's everything I've been playing in the past week. That's the update on the Year of the Front log, and that's everything I got for you for this first section. So we're going to take the first break of the show. You're going to hear some lovely break music, and then I'm going to come back for the midsection where I'll tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know, so you don't want to miss it. So come right back after this music. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 171. This is where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first one is a video game that we got a release date announcement for, and that is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. This is a Nintendo Switch 2 exclusive, and the release date has been announced for May 21st for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. There is no price showing currently. I'm anticipating this one's going to at least be a $69.99 US dollar release. Definitely looking towards full price category for a Nintendo game. And the back of the box talk for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book: discover a world of quirky creatures, play as Yoshi, and help a mysterious talking book named Mr. E remember the creatures living within the pages. Open him up, explore colorful habitats, and experiment with each creature to learn all kinds of surprising findings across every page. On your journey, you might see Bowser Jr. popping up in habitats. What could he be up to? So this game is going to take up about 20 gigabytes digitally, or if you have the cartridge, that's how much. I guess if you have the cartridge, it doesn't require that much, but digitally, game's 20 gigabytes. And I think the biggest question with this game is whether or not it's going to be challenging in any way. Most of the Yoshi games recently are targeted towards or skewed towards a younger audience, and I think all signs are pointing towards this one. Some of the recent footage they've shown of this does show some different abilities that Yoshi has. I don't know if it's going to make the game more complicated, or because it definitely still kind of seems very relaxed in the execution of like the different moves that Yoshi has. But there is a chance, has a little bit of Yoshi's. I guess like you want it to lean more towards Yoshi's Island if you're wanting some challenge in there, and it definitely has some Yoshi's Islandness to it. So I guess that is kind of the hope there. But the art style of this game definitely looks very cool. It gives me some vibes from Cuphead. Definitely has like whatever style you want to designate Cuphead as. I guess like an old cartoony kind of style. It definitely has a little bit of that, and it's a very cool look with Yoshi, who I think Yoshi could look cool pretty much in any context. He's just a great classic video game character. So Yoshi and the Mysterious Book is going to release on Nintendo Switch 2 on May 21st, and that's the announcement there. All right, we got another announcement, a release date announcement for a video game that's been previously announced. And this one's a collection. It's called Marvel Maximum Collection, and the X in there is capitalized if you didn't know it, because it's the X-Men. All right, the developer and publisher of this is Limited Run Games, which I think is pretty interesting because I think they usually publish a lot of games. I didn't really think they developed them, so that'll be something I'll be looking for. I'll be keeping an eye out for going forward in the future on this show. In the Marvel Maximum Collection, you can experience one of the most comprehensive gatherings of Marvel's early gaming legacy. Every major iteration across arcade and home consoles, this collection is a curated journey through the evolution of the 1990s Marvel Universe in pixels. So I don't have any like definite knowledge of games in this collection that I've played, but I'm sure I've played some of these in an arcade over the course of my life. So there is a lot of potential here for some, good nostalgia, and I always think these collections are cool. I guess I kind of go back and forth on how much I end up playing them, but that's kind of like any video game. But I think more and more they do a great job with these collections and the additional content in there, and the ability to have a bunch of games in one is always very nice. And these are generally not like full price games, so I think that is another nice option too. So Marvel Maximum Collection is going to be released. It's a multi-platform release on March 27th. So really just a couple weeks away. All right, what else is going on? I want to tell you about Ghost of Yotei, a wonderful video game. A winner of the Dep Lewis Show Game of the Year for 2025 has its multiplayer edition available right now. So Ghost of Yotei Legends is available to play, and it's free for all Ghost of Yotei owners, available right now. It's a co-op multiplayer game. It includes 3 distinct game modes. So survival, story, and incursion. Survival, you're going to team up with up to 3 other players to take down waves of increasingly difficult enemies on 1 of 4 maps, so I guess Horde mode in Ghost of Yotei. Fight to control territory on each map. While in control, you can choose to activate a blessing to receive an advantage in battle, but losing control can activate a curse that puts your team at disadvantage. Story mode is team up with another player to tackle a series of 12 missions. Work together, combining your unique skills to overcome a range of encounters, enemies, and challenges. And the final new mode in Ghost of Yotei Legends is Incursion. Upon completing each set of 3-story missions, you'll unlock a large-scale 4-player assault on a stronghold belonging to a member of the Yotei 6. So each incursion will culminate in a boss fight versus a giant supernatural version of the spider, the oni, the kitsune, or the snake. The 4 classes you can play as in this Ghost of Yotei Legends are Samurai, Mercenary, Archer, and Shinobi. So I do really like the main game of Ghost of Yotei. I don't know if I'm into like these games. I would end up playing a lot of multiplayer solo. So I think a lot of these games are tailored towards having a group of people to play, kind of like the Elden Ring Night Rain. I don't know how, I think of Elden Ring Night Rain, I think of Helldivers, I think of Arc Raiders. I don't know how fun these games are to play by yourself, but I think people, or even Marathon's a new one that came out. I don't know how fun these are to play by yourself, but maybe I should just end up giving them a try. And at least with Ghost of Yotei, I already went through the download of the free update, and I should at least try it out at some point. But I'm assuming there's matchmaking for some of these, but I wanted to make you aware that Ghost of Yotei Legends, the multiplayer mode for Ghost of Yotei, is available right now. And it's a wonderful video game. Atsu is a great character. The combat in these games combat in this game is very fun, and the graphics and the fidelity and the world and the art style and everything, the characters, all very, very top tier, and a wonderful video game. And I think it's cool that it has a free multiplayer edition right now. All right, another game I really liked from last year. It released in October of 2025. I've definitely talked about it the last few weeks on this podcast, trying to make you aware of this release, but Ball Pit is available now on mobile. I think this is a pretty big deal because I think this is a perfect game for mobile, and I know a lot of people like to play on their phone. So this one falls into the category of me as like Balatro, Vampire Survivors, Stardew Valley, games that you can play on mobile. I think the experience is just as good, especially if you're comfortable playing on mobile. And I think Ball Pit could be one of the best ones because it's a little bit reminiscent of like old phone games and just the brick breaking, ball fusing, base building. I guess more in the brick breaking and ball fusing portion. Well, I guess mainly the brick breaking portion, but the back of the box talk on Ball Pit is brick breaking, ball fusing, base building, survival roguelite. Batter hordes of enemies with ricocheting balls and gather the riches of the pit to expand your homestead, generate resources, and recruit unique heroes. So developed by Kenny Sun and Friends, published by Devolver Digital. It's available right now it's available multi-platform if you want to play it like on Switch or Steam or PlayStation 5. But the news here, it's available on mobile. It'll cost you $10. I think you can try out the game when you download it, but after you complete the first level, it says, hey, if you want to unlock the full experience, it's $10. I believe this game was $15 on the Switch. And this is one of those games where you can complete a run. It's going to take you a while to do it, and there's a million other characters, a million other ways you can do it. So I think this is really a perfect video game for mobile, and one I would like to recommend to you out there in the world. Ball Pit, available now. All right, what else is going on I want to tell you about? A video game that released, released on March 5th. It's in early access right now. It'll cost you $24.99 if you want to play on Steam, and that's Slay the Spire 2. So the first copy, Slay the Spire, was a gargantuan hit, and this one's been long awaited, and it seems like this one's living up to the hype. Slay the Spire 2 has sold 3 million copies in a week, and over 25 million runs have been recorded in Slay the Spire 2. So developer and publisher is Mega Crit, and in this game you can craft a unique deck, encounter bizarre creatures, and discover relics of immense power in Slay the Spire 2. So Slay the Spire, I did see, was on sale on Switch for like $8. I've played a little bit of Slay the Spire back in the day, but I definitely should have tried more. And with it being the year of the front log, maybe I'll be looking forward towards Slay the Spire 2 if it does come out on Switch. I don't know how soon another release for this game will be. It just came out in early access on Steam, so I don't know how soon it would be coming to Switch. But I bet a Switch release is very high on their priority, would be my guess. And I'll definitely be tempted, or certainly will want to wishlist this game when it is available on Switch too. All right. So what else to tell you about? There are some new color options available now for your DualSense controller called the Hyperpop Collection, available right now. These launched on March 12th, so just a couple days ago. These 3 new striking designs for DualSense wireless controllers and the PlayStation 5 console covers. They have glossy blacks, shifting into vivid neons. Each finish introduces an all-new aesthetic into your gaming setup. So with the vibrant Hyperpop collection, players can choose their track between Techno Remix. Oh man, I forgot the, Techno Remix. No, Techno Red, Remix Green, or Rhythm Blue. Those are the three options there, and those are the titles for them. So these new controllers are $84.99 for the controller and $74.99 for the console covers. I think these are cool. I think with these controllers, that's nice to have these options, especially if you just bought a console, or if you have a controller that's seen better days and want to get a new one. There's plenty of options out there in terms of variety, and I think it's pretty cool that they're adding more variety with this Hyperpop collection. I think the console covers are pretty nice too. I've never really seen those in the wild. I think most of the time you have to order them from PlayStation directly. I just really never see them like at Best Buy or on shelves or anything. I don't even know if Amazon normally sells them. Amazon probably does, but making you aware that new DualSense colorways are available right now. Hyperpop collection, Techno Red, Remix Green, and Rhythm Blue. All right. Getting into some Electronic Arts, EA. Some sad news, as always, which we have to talk about a lot on this show. They are laying off an unknown number of individuals from its Battlefield studios, including Criterion, DICE, Ripple Effect, and Motive. So Battlefield 6 had a successful launch, but has seen declining player numbers and live service issues, apparently. Battlefield 6 released not that long ago, about half a year ago, October 2025. It was a full-price game, $69.99 US dollars, developed by Battlefield Studios and published by EA. And back when this game came out many moons ago, back in October 2025, it was a pretty big success, and everyone was saying, hey, we're kind of down on Call of Duty. This is extremely fun. Having a lot of fun with this game. It seems like they did everything right, but I just don't know how much. I don't know. This is back to the argument or thought of like people already have their multiplayer games that they're playing, and it's very hard to pull them away from like their Fortnites or Rocket League or other, or I guess Roblox or other games that people play. We talked about Marvel Rivals, Overwatch. We talked about High Guard last week, coming and going, but there's a lot of these games, and a lot of them are very high quality. Some of them are even free to play, and even Call of Duty sees declining numbers, even though it still has massive sales. And I think that's the problem here too. This one I think had massive sales, but I just didn't live up to the maybe saving their whole franchise or company, or maybe they were gambling every single bit of their expectations on Battlefield 6, but it seems like they kind of came to do what they wanted to do, and I don't know. I'm about to say I don't know what else they can do, but just it seems. I think more and more we see these layoffs. It doesn't necessarily mean that the product that they created was bad. It's just kind of the way the world is going with some of these things. That especially with a lot of these big companies, if you're not seeing like a once in a lifetime hit from a game, then they're just going to throw it in the trash. And I guess that's what they're doing a little bit here. It'll be interesting to see when they go back to the Battlefield well. I don't think it'll be anytime soon, because it'll be hard to imagine them coming back. This was kind of the reset with Battlefield 6 of, hey, we're getting kind of back to the roots. It's going to be everything you want in a multiplayer, like modern shooter game. And, maybe just the audience isn't there as much anymore. Who knows? Because, back in my day, but back during like the Xbox 360 days, Battlefield, Call of Duty, those were top of the heap. And, were really, really quality. Tons of people playing, fun to play to different releases, and they've just kind of gone, I guess, maybe a little bit bland these days. All right, so that is the EA update. So thoughts and prayers to anyone laid off over there, as always. Hopefully they can land on their feet, and hopefully these companies can plan better, make smarter decisions, not have to swing for the home run every time, and be a little bit more consistent with their output and how they're treating people that they're employing. All right, so getting into some more like kind of corporate news on the Xbox side of things, though. So GDC is going on, and I guess that's Gamers Development Conference. I never really thought about what GDC is, but that kind of makes sense, so maybe don't quote me on that. But a couple updates from Xbox from this. They showed off a little bit more, or talked about Project Helix, which is the next generation of, I'm going to put in parentheses, Xbox. They talked about this at GDC. Project Helix, alpha versions of Project Helix will be sent to developers in 2027. And then they're saying it's going to play your Xbox console and PC games. I saw something, I think Digital Foundry just put out a report that says, hey, they have looked into the Project Helix, and it really has no, I I don't know, I'm not going to be able to explain the technical terms here, but like it has no architecture or structure of Xbox in this. This is basically just a PC. And that was kind of my question. Is this thing going to play? Are we ever going to see, future Xbox games? Or is this thing just going to be backwards compatible? Because they keep talking about, one of the news things you keep saying with this talk about Project Helix is, hey, they're going to be adding backwards compatibility to OG Xbox and more of Xbox 360 than it already does on Xbox Series X. And but it's possible that this thing could just be basically running Steam, and then anything that's out on Xbox already, you're going to be able to purchase backwards compatible, and we're going to kind of see, Digital Foundry is making that seem like it's the technical end of it being an Xbox, and I definitely think Xbox is in some type of change. Maybe the change has already happened, and maybe a little bit of an uphill climb. I just think these are very murky waters here that Xbox is trying to navigate through, and I think they're doing a very, very poor job with the talks of the Project Helix so far. So the other things that they have talked about Xbox recently, they've announced Xbox mode. This was announced at GDC. This is coming to Windows 11 in select markets starting in April. It adds features found on Xbox Ally to your PC and laptop. You'll be able to switch into Xbox mode to get that Xbox feeling. So I think I've never played an Xbox Ally, but the report on the Xbox Ally is you wish the Xbox Ally operated more just like an Xbox with that Xbox feeling. So this update seems a little bit like something that's not that exciting, because I was kind of thinking that, hey, maybe they're giving more of this Xbox mode on all of their platforms, and it sounds like the Xbox mode on the Xbox Ally is pretty lacking, but that's just me from, watching coverage and listening to people talk about it. But coming to Windows 11, you're getting a little bit more of this Xbox feeling, which I think I don't even think they know what the Xbox feeling is anymore. So this just seems a little bit silly. This seems a little bit floundery in terms of features or modes people would want. And I think if you're playing video games on Windows, you want as little windows that you can see as possible. So I don't know why they need to make that a big deal. I think that's a pretty common option that most people would want. I think if you want to have some options of windows on your video game experience, then maybe you can be able to toggle them on. But I think it's paramount if you're having you want the video game environment to feel separate and streamlined and optimized to getting in and out of the games and doing all the things that you want to do on these consoles in a video game manner. And I don't know if that's going away. I know we see menus that are worse and worse as time goes on. So, maybe people are caring less about that thing. But that was one of the big complaints I heard about that handheld was, hey, this is, getting the Windows portion of this handheld is getting way more in the way of the Xbox side than we would like it to. And it seems like this is just kind of putting that mode that people already think is kind of mediocre onto other devices. So maybe not that exciting of an announcement. And then it seems like Xbox has also quietly retired their marketing campaign of everything being in an Xbox. So more signs, that was a colossal fail of a marketing campaign, to say the least. But the blog post that announced this is gone. The original links and announcements all seem to be gone. And they're trying to wipe this. They can wipe it from the blog, but they cannot wipe it from our memories. I think they're going to be clowned a long time for this is the Xbox campaign. And it might sadly really be towards the end of the actual Xbox life cycle. And I heard some people talking about, I guess on Nintendo voice chat it might have been, this week, of how Xbox is really, they're on the trajectory of being like Sega, where they're really going towards being a publisher. It seems like all signs point to that as far as I can see. And I'm believing that more and more as time goes on, that the Xbox Game Studios, it shows up as Xbox Game Studios when they publish a game, like on Steam or something. And I think just more and more we're going to see that, and they're going to sell these PC devices that really, really don't resemble anything like an Xbox, but maybe a little bit of Xbox flavor within them. And I don't know if that will really satisfy the Xbox fans, because it feels like too different of a thing. All right, so those are all the Xbox updates on Project Helix, Xbox mode, and This is an Xbox marketing campaign, which is no longer. So nothing is an Xbox. Well, that's the new campaign. Nothing is an Xbox. That should really be their new campaign if they, when they sell that's how they're going to rip the Band-Aid off of it. They're going to, in 2 years, once the Project Helix is announced and it's only playing backwards compatible, they're going to say, nothing is an Xbox anymore by Project Helix. All right. So keeping in line with hardware stuff, the Steam machine Valve is at GDC, and a quote from them, which I think is an interesting one, says, "If you have a line on a bunch of RAM, we are in the market and would like to buy it." So chip and memory shortages are not slowing down, and this is what Valve is definitely signaling to us that, hey, we're trying to release this console this year, but it doesn't look like it. All signs are pointing to no, especially with them out there saying a quote like this in the public. So the Steam Machine still has no price, with no other release date other than 2026. And Steam Machine back of the box talk is with over 6 times the horsepower of Steam Deck. Steam Machine has the power to play your whole Steam library, including your favorite AAA titles. Just sign in with your Steam account and your entire library is there. So I guess the Steam Machine and Project Helix are major competitors. And, we're even seeing Sony want to pull their games off, or saying, hey, we're not going to necessarily be putting all of our exclusives over on Steam anymore, because I don't know. I don't know why they were doing that, because maybe the sales weren't good enough. I guess that's probably the reason. But people are saying, hey, you don't want to see them playing a PlayStation game on an Xbox. But in this new age of Xbox, it really is just kind of like a PC. So I think you're kind of just splitting hairs there almost. But the Steam Machine, it doesn't look like it's going to be coming out this year, and from my opinion, and I think they have fumbled I think this can come out and be successful, the Steam Machine, but I really think they fumbled the rollout here with this, because I think it was a marketing what's the word of like a marketing phenomenon or whatever. It was a really, really good job of marketing this thing when it first got announced, and it had everyone really, really hyped for a low price point, and everyone was excited. Hey, this is going to solve a need. But then they immediately started fumbling it with some of their price talk, and then now with what it looks like it's going to get delayed, I think this is kind of bad news over there on the Steam Machine. All right, some more GDC stuff going on. Elden Ring has been shown off there for Switch 2. So this is something that I think was shown last year at GDC. I think this was supposed to come out for Switch 2 last year. It got shown off somewhere. It might have been GDC, and it was getting tarnished. The reputation of how it runs was getting tarnished, and saying it was running poorly. But, we've seen a lot of third-party games be able to optimize well for the Switch 2, even with Resident Evil 9 recently. So I don't think there's any excuses besides maybe some time and the effort and resources, blah, 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 to do it. But it seems like the Switch 2 is fully capable of running some really high-level games. And it seems like Elden Ring is getting more up to snuff, and maybe is up to snuff. So everyone's saying it's looking better after the delay. This is supposed to release sometime in 2026 is all we really know. So I just want to say a quick mention from the game from Software. And back of the box talk on Elden Ring, if you never heard, is rise tarnished and be guided by the grace to brandish the power of the Elden Ring and become an Elden Lord in the lands between. This game, initially released in February 2022, was a Game of the Year winner for many. It's a game I've spent many hours with and enjoyed, and another one I would like to have the option possibly to play on Nintendo Switch too. All right, just a couple more things to tell you about here in the midsection to keep you up to date with everything going on in the video game world. A video game that released last year around April 2025 for Xbox and PC, South of Midnight, has been announced that it's coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 on March 31st. So this one is a release date announcement. I think this was already previously announced to come to PS5. I don't know if it was Switch 2, but either way, South of Midnight is coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 on March 31st. This is developed by Compulsion Games. Yeah, there it is. Published by Xbox Game Studios. This one's not a full price game, which is nice. $39.99 is the Steam price, at least. And the back of the box talk on South of Midnight is explore the mythos and confront mysterious creatures of the Deep South in this modern folktale while learning to weave an ancient power to surmount obstacles and unravel your family's hidden past. So this one definitely has a unique style to it. I don't know if this would be up my alley necessarily. I was maybe a little bit tempted to play this just based on like the cool art style. It does blend the like the mythos of the Deep South and the folktale thing very nicely. And I think a lot of people, not a lot of people, but I think some people did enjoy this. So I think this is cool. As I always like to say, I guess, that it's coming out on other platforms, giving people the option to play it. And it seems like it's a decently like quality game, so that's always good too. South of Midnight coming to PlayStation 5 and Switch 2 on March 31st. Only a couple weeks away. All right, the last news thing I want to tell you about is a video game called Dave the Diver has a new DLC. And the announcement here is the DLC is going to release on June 18th, and that is the In the Jungle DLC. No price shown currently for the DLC, But Dave the Diver is a casual single-player adventure RPG featuring deep-sea exploration and fishing during the day and sushi restaurant management at night. Join Dave and his quirky friends as they seek to uncover the secrets of the mysterious blue hole. Developed and published by Mint Rocket. The initial release of Dave the Diver was June 2023. I think this is another really great indie game. One of these games is not a full-price game that you can play for a long time. I think it's definitely had free content getting added to it. I think this new DLC, In the Jungle, is paid DLC. Maybe don't quote me on that, but it's coming on June 18th. And the In the Jungle DLC for Dave the Diver, the content of this expansion is only accessible after completion of the base game, so you do need to do that. Dave's adventure continues, this time in the heart of the jungle. So I think very cool concept. The first portion of, or Dave the Diver, takes place under the sea. And then, so you're exploring underwater, you're going down there, you're having to worry about your oxygen, you're having to deal with all the fish and all the creatures and everything down there. And now you're going to be taking the same concept to the jungle. So I think that's a very cool idea. And I think it's cool that they're doing that in DLC rather than a second game. I think it's just a very interesting and smart and potentially going to get a lot of people who are hooked on the Dave the Diver loop, hooked on it again, especially with the new, the biome, I guess you would call it, in the jungle. So they are leaving the blue hole behind. Dave and his crew travel to the jungle to investigate a mysterious phenomenon reported in the village of Yotei. Beneath the jungle lake awaits a brand new ecosystem to explore, along with new missions and discoveries. Featuring over 10 hours of new story and gameplay, introduces new systems, new locations, and thrilling new adventures beyond the ocean. So I wonder if there is a restaurant aspect to the jungle, or like kind of what the loop is, because in Dave the Diver, you're out like hunting or fishing in the ocean all day, and then you're working in the sushi restaurant at night serving up what you caught. So I wonder what the basic loop out there in the jungle is, but I would assume it would be something similar. So if you never heard of Dave the Diver, please go check it out. I think it's normally like a $14.99 US dollar kind of game, and I think if you're looking for like one of those games, a Dead Cells, a Binding of Isaac, a Spelunky, a Super Meat Boy, there's a classic, elite, wonderful video games under the $20 price rate. Hollow Knight, Silksong, tons of them, and they're extremely fun. And as time goes on, I realize more and more of these games are some of my favorite games, and games I think that are classic and you can play anytime and pick them up. And the Dave the Diver, I think, falls in that category. So Dave the Diver DLC, In the Jungle, releasing on June 18th. And that, after the Dave the Diver news, is everything I got for you for the midsection of the show this week. So we talked about a lot of things. We talked about Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. We talked about the Marvel Maximum Collection. We talked about Ghost of Yotei Legends, Ball Pit, Slay the Spire 2, the Hyperpop Collection, the new DualSense colorways. We talked about EA, Xbox with Project Helix, Xbox Mode, and the This is an Xbox marketing campaign. We talked about the Steam Machine, Elden Ring, South of Midnight, and Dave the Diver. So that is all the video game news I have for you this week. Those are all my video game thoughts, but there is still one final section of the show to go, the Miscellaneous Talk section. It's normally pretty short and sweet, and I like to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. My favorite sport in the universe is about to start in just a couple weeks, so I'm very excited about that. And there actually is some of my favorite sport going on, some baseball going on. I want to talk about that. And, even if you don't like sports, you can go through the journey of sports fandom with me, which is usually, you have to go through a lot of hardship over here as a sports fan. And please come back for the final section of Dep Lewis Show after this. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 171. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. And I want to get into the worldwide world of sports as always and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. And there's a good bit of news actually for all of my teams this week. So my favorite NFL team, the Carolina Panthers, it's currently the offseason for them. So we're looking forward to the NFL draft on April 23rd through April 25th. But the free agency period to begin. So the Panthers had some really big signings last week, and I want to tell you about the most exciting ones. The first one being the 26-year-old outside linebacker and edge rusher Jalen Phillips. They signed him to a 4-year, $120 million deal. So the Panthers are paying some money for an edge rusher, which they certainly could use. They drafted, I think they have 2 new rookies from last year that are rushing the edge. Nick Scorton's definitely one, and I think they both had some good production last year, but this is going to be one of the best in the league to do it, and he's coming over to the Panthers. So I think
It's going to be a great combination of an elite. He's only 26-year-old, but even pairing him with some of the younger guys that they drafted and potentially some more younger guys coming in for some competition as well. But Jalen Phillips will be the top of the heap for the Panthers. Jalen Phillips, Derek Brown, and J.C. Horn is a pretty great person at each stage of the defense, really. I guess Phillips and Brown are both on the D-line, but the Panthers shored up the linebacker a little bit too. We're going to talk about in a second. But Jalen Phillips, he's a 6'6", 266-pound, like we said, outside linebacker or edge rusher. He went to college at Miami. He was the 18th pick in the first round by 2021 by Miami. He spent 4.5 years with them and then a half year with the Eagles before coming over here to the Panthers. So welcome to the Carolina Panthers, Jalen Phillips. I hope you are going to ball out. All right, so the Panthers also signed 27-year-old linebacker David Lloyd coming over from the Jaguars. So a 3-year, $45 million deal for him. He's a 6'3", 235-pound linebacker out of Utah, College of Utah. He was the 27th pick in the first round in 2022 by Jacksonville. He's played his whole career with the Jags, and they are saying that he's going to be Mr. Green Dot on the defense. So he's going to be the player equipped with the speaker to receive radio one-way communication from coaches. It's generally the QB and the primary linebacker. So going to come over, have to, be the trigger man a little bit on the defense, and get the call out there, make sure people are double checked they're in the right position, and just be an intelligent player as well as executing out there on the field. So I think a great addition. Roseboom was a nice addition to the linebacker core last year, or he was just exceptionally good. But I think we could have used some help there. I think they have addressed the needs really, really well here, especially on the defense. And the Panthers could be getting up there into really good defense territory with some of these additions if everybody's able to stay healthy and continue on and grow together. And these guys are young still too, so I think they're making some really, really great moves. All right, and the other big signing for the Panthers was the 26-year-old offensive tackle Rasheed Walker on a 1-year, $10 million deal. So he's a 6'6", 324-pound gentleman. College at Penn State. He was the 249th pick in the 7th round in 2022 by the Packers. He's played his whole career, 4 years with the Packers, and he is now earning $10 million to come over and play with the Panthers next year, which I think we did lose someone at least on our offensive line. Our offensive line was generally pretty good, but I think it's always a position that you could look to fortify, and I think this giant human hopefully is going to be helping out the Carolina Panthers next year on his $10 million deal. So go Panthers. I think that was a really, really exceptional offseason, and we haven't even gotten to the draft yet, which, hopefully they can hit big in the draft too with some players. So I'm really, really happy with how the Panthers are going and excited for next year more than I've been in a long time. So go Panthers. All right, as far as basketball, we're getting kind of like towards the late stages of the regular season. So I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets since I'm a North Carolina resident now. Last Sunday at Phoenix, it was a late game, 10 p.m. The Hornets lost 99-111. Tuesday at Portland, the Hornets won 103-101. Wednesday at Sacramento, the Hornets won 117-109. Saturday at San Antonio, the Hornets lost 102-115. And next week, the Hornets are going to be playing Miami, Orlando, and Memphis. My favorite team in the NBA, who I'm still a little bit angry at after trading Trae Young away, the Atlanta Hawks. Last Tuesday, they played Dallas, so shout out to Pab. They took his boys down. Hawks won 124-112, so that's always extra nice. Pab and I have a gentleman's bet about who wins more regular season wins this year, the Hawks or the Mavs. And I think the Hawks are running away with that one, which is nice. Thursday versus Brooklyn, the Hawks won 108-97. Saturday versus Milwaukee, the Hawks won 122-99. So a winning week for the Hawks, which is very nice to see. Next week, they're playing Orlando, Dallas, Houston, and Golden State. So another game to trash talk Pab about, which is always nice. And then my favorite team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves. It is the offseason for them, but the 2026 season begins on Friday, March 27, 2026. So not this upcoming week, but the week after, the Braves are going to be playing regular season baseball, and I can't wait for it. And the TV broadcasting deal right overlords have announced how we can watch the Braves in the upcoming season, and I think it's a pretty good solution. It's called Braves TV. So you can pay $100 or $99.99 for the season. I believe there is a monthly option to watch all the Braves games in market. Watch Braves games in market. So stream Braves games without blackouts. So that's a really crucial thing there. Without blackouts. Very nice. Live or on demand for the entire 2026 regular season. Plus access to MILB games and MLB Big Inning. And then if you want to add MLB TV on top of it, it'll cost you $200 for the season. so you can watch Braves games in market plus every other team. So I think a pretty great solution on how to watch the Braves. The FanDuel Sports Network was a pretty good solution last year. I do like that you were able to get like the Hornets games or the Carolina Hurricanes games in a package, but being able to buy the Braves outright by themselves is the thing I've been asking for a long time, and I think this is going to help out a lot of Braves fans. And I think you're able to watch like 140 of the 162 games through this service. So, I mean, that is a really good amount, and you don't have to pay. It's $100 for the season, and if you're paying for anything like YouTube TV or Fubo TV or DirecTV streaming, it's going to cost you $90. It could easily be $100 each month. So having that option to pay for an entire season is way more affordable and way appreciated by this sports fan at least. So very nice options there for Braves TV for the upcoming season. And just general MLB news, the World Baseball Classic has been going on. It's been very fun to watch. It's the final of that's actually going to be on Tuesday night, the 17th. So last Monday, the USA played Mexico. The USA won 5-3. USA lost to Italy 6-8, which almost put them in jeopardy of losing and not even making it out of pool play. But Italy ended up beating Mexico Wednesday to help the USA advance. And then Friday, the USA played Canada. USA won 5-3. Last night, the Venezuela beat Japan to move on to the semifinals. So Ronald Acuna, my favorite player in the universe, hit a home run on pitch 2 to right center, and then Shohei came up in his next at bat and hit a home run too. So this is really, really fun to watch and very exciting for baseball being on the horizon. And I think the World Baseball Classic is one of the best editions. Or I don't know how long it's been like going on, but the way they've been promoting it and showing it off and having all the games on, and it's just been extremely fun to watch and has been a perfect intro to the season that I've been long awaiting. So there is a game tonight. USA is going to play the Dominican Republic at 8 p.m. on FS1. That's the semifinal game. And then the other semifinal is tomorrow night, Monday, Venezuela at Italy, 8 p.m. on FS1. And then the final will be on Tuesday, 8 p.m. on Fox. So go USA. Hopefully they can, become champions. And there is going to be a new champion this year either way, since Japan's been eliminated. And everyone can be happy we don't have to watch Shohei, out there batting 500 until the regular season, which, just a monster of a baseball player, Mr. Shohei Ohtani. So World Baseball Classic, hats off to you. You've been extremely fun to watch, and I'm beyond ready for baseball to begin. So that is everything I got for you. All the updates on my favorite teams, the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, the Atlanta Braves, and then we talked about the World Baseball Classic. So that's everything I got for you for this final section of the show and all the miscellaneous talk. So I'd like to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. To find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly, places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch replacing games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So I thank you so much for listening. I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. Patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is a great way to subscribe monthly. I was thinking of maybe canceling the Patreon because I haven't really had anybody sign up for it. But I think it is a good basis for a way to get the podcast ad-free, guaranteed. Hopefully one day more and more people will keep listening to this podcast, which would be nice. And there could be a point in time where, there's some ads on the podcast that are like auto-included or, who knows, manually included. You never know. But if the podcast keeps growing, there could be a point in time where there's ads on the podcast. And having the foundation of Patreon set up is a place you can go for there's some pretty good discounts over there for signing up. So please go check it out. Pretty inexpensive if you would like the ad-free versions, which I think is important. But I think it's always important to have an ad-free version for not a lot of money, because even if the podcast is starting to get a lot of views on YouTube, there would be ads run on YouTube just from using YouTube. So having a place to have the podcast where you're able to get it ad-free, and right now you can sign up for $1 a month. So good options on that, and I think that's important, even if more of a future kind of thing. But I think it's a nice option to have, and something I would want to have if a lot of people did start listening to the show on a weekly basis, which would be awesome. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. And I hope you have a wonderful week out there in the world. So if things are going good for you, I hope that continues. If things are going poorly, I hope that changes. And thank you so much for listening to the show. I'll be back next week, as always, to keep you up to date with the video game world. And hopefully you play some fun games out there in the upcoming week. Hopefully the USA will win the World Baseball Classic. And hopefully I'll catch some more Pokemon in Pokemon Leaf Green in the upcoming week. So I will talk to you next time. Have a good one out there. I'll talk to you next time. Goodbye.